Hey guys, Chicago injury lawyer Scott DeSalvo here, and in today's video I decided to shoot you a video on a topic that comes up a lot, okay? A lot of people call me up and they've been in an accident and they go to the emergency room or they go to urgent care, and then for whatever reason they do no follow-up care. Now so what do you need to know about that? Is it worth doing an injury case? Can you do an injury case? And is it going to be financially worth it for a lawyer to take a case like that if you have never followed up beyond the emergency room? Okay. Well, that's what the topic is, because this does come up quite a bit, right? Especially during the period where there were lockdowns and there was the unspecified origin mysterious illness that locked everything down for 2 or 3 years. It was hard to get in for follow-up care, and a lot of people were afraid to go to doctor's offices physically, and a lot of people didn't want to be going into a therapy center or an MRI center, so they just didn't get therapy, they didn't get care, they didn't follow up. They went to the emergency room or urgent care. So that's very common. So there's two categories. There's two ways this can go. There's the person who goes to the emergency room and it ends up they just take care of themselves at home and they're fine. And then there's the category of people who go to the emergency room and for whatever reason, whether it's that they have concerns about calling a lawyer, they had bad dealings with a lawyer before, and they didn't want to call a lawyer, or they didn't know where to go, or they didn't have any money or insurance, and they were afraid to, get medical care. Or maybe, listen, it's true that people can have other problems. It could be a mental health issue. It could be an addiction issue. I've seen those stop people from taking care of themselves, right? So whether you're in category 1 or category 2, I have some thoughts about it that I'd like to share, and I think it would be valuable for you. So if it's a situation where you go to the emergency room or urgent care only, and then you just take care of yourself, you take off a little time from work, you take hot showers, you rest, you don't go to your bowling league for a month, you miss your niece's birthday party because all you're doing is just rehabbing at home. Maybe you have an old injury, or maybe you went to Walgreens or Amazon and bought a heating pad or a muscle stimulator or some of that sports cream that you put on a sore muscle or sore part of the body, and other than that you just took it easy for a month or something like that, and you got better, and you just like, I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm not gonna, I'm feeling better. I don't need to go to the doctor. Well, those are cases. Those are cases you can get some money on, but they're very, very, very small cases, right? So a lot of lawyers will turn their noses up to them and tell you, sorry, I can't help you. But, I've handled cases like that. I've had cases where people get into a crash, the photos show a lot of car damage, or they get hurt at work, or whatever it is. They go to the emergency room, maybe they go to their family doctor like once or twice. They get a script for therapy, they get a script to get x-rays because the doctor is concerned about their neck or their back or their arm or their shoulder or whatever. And they just never go get the x-rays, and they never get any follow-up care, right? And then they'll call, at this point I already represent them, and we check in with our clients 60 to 90 days after we sign them up to see how their treatment is doing. And a lot of times I'll call them up and they'll say, oh yeah, no, I never went, so I guess we can just drop the case. And I'll tell them the same thing I tell you. Look, when I accept a client's case, I don't know whether it's going to be a really big case or a small one or something in between. Now, there are certain cases that are obviously going to be serious, substantial cases right out of the gate. But even if you have a smaller injury, you can put some money in your pocket, and the lawyer does all the legwork. So the lawyer orders the medical bills and the records and the police report, The lawyer talks to the insurance company. The lawyer haggles with the insurance company. The lawyer writes the demand letter. The lawyer reads and summarizes your medical records. The lawyer gets you an offer. The lawyer works out any medical liens against your settlement or any other claims where people want money out of your settlement. And the lawyer does all the math for you. The only thing you really have to do is say, yes, accept the offer. So my point is, just because you get hurt and only go to the doctor once or twice doesn't mean you can't have a case. It's just you have to have realistic expectations. And in most of those kinds of cases, a lawyer doesn't want to put that case into suit. They're going to want to try and settle it for you. Now, there are some lawyers out there who have like boutique niche practices, right? So I know a fella, I've been a friend with him for a number of years, really good lawyer, really smart guy, but he only does medical malpractice or catastrophic injury cases. So if you called him, he'd probably tell you to call somebody else. But I like to help people whether they have big cases or little cases. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. I'm like everybody else. I like money. You probably like money too. Money is nice when you can get it. And it would be nice if I had 10 cases in my office, just 10 cases, each of them worth $10 million. I'd be doing these videos retired from a beach in Hawaii or somewhere, but don't worry, there's no risk of that happening anytime soon. My point is, even if it's a smaller case, you should at least get a free consultation and a lawyer can help you, okay? There's money to be had in those cases usually. It's not, nothing that's going to make you rich, but you can put a few bucks in your pocket, and then the lawyer handles all the hassles for you. So that's category one. Category two is the more troubling kind of case where you're busy with your kids are having a problem, there's death in a family or multiple deaths in the family, there's an addiction problem, there's a mental health problem, there is some issue that legitimately you get into a crash, you have an accident, you go to the emergency room or family doctor or urgent care, you mean to follow up, and then life gets in the way for any of those reasons or even other reasons I'm not discussing. But you're hurt, you're screwed up, you're injured, you're having problems, right? Well, in a situation like that, realistically, we have to say to ourselves, like, at some point, if you have a serious injury and you don't follow up right away, we need medical documentation for your injury, okay? So what I mean, well, you cannot go to court on a case and say, well, I was in this serious crash, look at these car damage photos, the cars were destroyed, I never had a neck problem before, and now my neck hurts me 7 out of 10 pain every day. And I had to quit my job, and I take pills every day, and I quit my basketball league, and I don't go out with my friends anymore, I don't play with my children, I don't have any hobbies, I sit in the house miserable with no income every day. But it's been 2 years and I haven't seen any doctors. Now, look, it's a free country. You can go to court and make that claim, but you will lose at trial, or you will get some pittance, low-dollar amount of money. Because here's what's true. Whether it's an insurance adjuster, a judge, or a jury, if you are in pain and if you have physical problems, they expect you to go to the doctor, right? And even if all you do is go to the doctor after the crash for let's say you have a crash, you go to the ER, or you have an injury, you go to the emergency room and family doctor, a year goes by, you're still having problems, but it's too late for them to give you any treatment. Like they say, physical therapy isn't going to help. You're not a surgical candidate. You still benefit by going into a orthopedic doctor, if it's your neck, for example, or a specialist who will examine you, give you x-rays or MRIs and say, listen, here's what we think is wrong with this guy or this person. Here's what we think is related to the crash. Here's what we don't think is related to the crash. Here's what their medical future looks like. The pain level they're in now, they're going to be in for the rest of their lives. Now, why is that so important? Well, you need medical testimony in almost every kind of injury case. And what do I mean by medical testimony? I mean, for our purposes, you need a doctor who has treated you, seen you with his or her own eyes, asked you questions, done an examination, and gotten x-rays or MRIs or other testing if they think it's necessary. And that's because only a doctor can say, this injury was caused by this crash. Lawyers call that a causation opinion. And without a causation opinion, you can't claim an injury. There's exceptions, like if somebody walks up to you with a baseball bat, swings and hits you in the arm, and your arm is dangling, most judges will allow you to testify that he hit your arm and broke your arm without medical testimony. But realistically, what are we talking about here? We want better testimony from a doctor. People on a jury and an insurance claims adjuster is going to look at that and say, there's something fishy going on here. Why didn't they get a doctor to testify that the guy broke his arm? So that's my point. So my point is, like, getting into medical care and getting up to follow-up medical care as soon as you can is always a good idea. And even if too much time has gone by, and it's what's called a treatment gap. So you go to the emergency room and 6 months goes by and you say, my neck's been hurting ever since. People are going to have a hard time believing you. I know it happens because I talk to people every year, multiple times, who have this situation. But in front of a judge and a jury or an insurance company adjuster, it's going to be a really hard sell. But it still makes sense to go see a doctor at 6 months and see if they'll give you a causation opinion. In other words, yes, as a doctor, medically, I believe that your neck problems are related to that crash. It was foolhardy for you to not get medical care right away, but let's see what we can do for you. My point is, even if the doctor doesn't treat you, getting you examined is really important. So I represented a guy who was involved in a serious crash, and this exact thing happened to him, and he didn't want to get any follow-up care, and he didn't want to even get examined by a doctor a year later. And look, I got him a 6-figure settlement, but it probably could have been double the settlement, had he gone for one doctor's appointment, which he, for whatever reason, he just didn't want to do. So my point is, it can make the difference between winning a case and losing a case, and it can definitely add tremendous value when you're talking about a more serious injury that you just never get medical care for. It's got to be documented by a doctor. Gotta. So anyway, hope that wasn't too confusing, and I hope that information helps you. I hope you and your family are doing well. But if, God forbid, anyone you know has been injured in an accident, they need to talk to a lawyer. I offer a free consultation. No selling. No pressure to hire me, but you can always reach me at 312-500-4500. That's 312-500-4500. Call anytime, night or day, nighttime, middle of the night, middle of the day, morning, anytime at all. Could be Christmas, could be Arbor Day, could be St. Patrick's Day, could be any day at all. So you can always call me. Okie dokie. But maybe you're not ready to talk to a lawyer, but you still have a lot of questions. Well, one thing you can do is subscribe to my channel, because I release 2 videos explaining how injury cases work every week. Or at least that's what I've been doing. If I get busy, no promises that I'll continue to do that. But my YouTube channel now has well over 200 videos that explain, most topics. I'm always open to more questions. So if you have an idea for a video, leave it in the comment section. But if you're not ready to talk to a lawyer, a lot of your questions, or you can get like some good information on my YouTube channel. But I also created 2 really cool tools on my website. One is called the Case Cash Calculator. It tells you what your case might be worth in dollars. The other one is called the good case calculator. It tells you whether you might have a good case or whether you might have kind of a hard case, kind of a tough case. Okay? So both of those are completely free to use. They take you about 20 seconds to use, and then you get answers. You get rock solid, great information about your situation, because you just literally answer 7 multiple choice questions really quick. 20 seconds later, 10 seconds later, you got really good information. So I'll leave the links to those in the description below. And last thing I'll say is that if you enjoy my videos and the information I provide helps you, you think I'm a good guy and you think I'm a good lawyer and an honest person, and you wouldn't mind helping me, it would be a huge help to me if you would leave me a 5-star review on Google. I'll leave a link in the description. All you do is go to that web address. It takes you right to the page. Click 5 stars, say a kind word, click submit. Literally 10 seconds of work for you, but invaluable favor that I would really appreciate for me. So if you wouldn't mind doing it, link in the description. And, you know, that's it. I hope everything's going well for you. If God forbid it isn't, and I can answer any questions or help you any way, please do not hesitate to give me a call. 312-500-4500. And that's all I got to say today, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you have a beautiful day. And until next time, take care.